Whoa. The Martin Super Dreadnought is here at Empire Music. I'm Joe Ravita from Empire Music, empiremusic.com in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we are Martin Guitars custom expert dealer, one of 25 worldwide. And that means we get to bring you the best, coolest, newest, most awesome stuff. Check out empiremusic.com. Our entire selection is there. Chat with us through the site. Give us a call. Text me, call me, 412-915-7118. That's my cell phone. And we can talk about this amazing guitar. And we can also talk about the full factory setup that we do before we ship it out to you, so it's dialed in when you get it. What have we here? This beastly beast, the Martin Super Dreadnought. Martin has made a slightly oversized Dreadnought in the past. This is the largest Martin guitar that's ever been produced. The Martin Super Dreadnought out of the custom shop. This is cool because this guitar was hand delivered by Scott Sasser and Fred Green at Martin Guitars here to Empire, because we just had our 20th anniversary event in the shop, and those guys came out to do an in-store event and they brought our guitars with them, which is really, really cool. So straight from the factory, and it's awesome. The Super Dreadnought has 20% more airspace inside, and it creates 12 decibels more bass. Now, what does all that mean? It's got massive overhead. It allows for the fullness and the boom that you expect out of a Martin guitar, but we don't have to play as hard, so we don't have to drive the sound to get that tone. With the smaller guitar, let's exaggerate it, if you took a ukulele in your hand and you punished it, you played really heavy, what happens? It sounds terrible. It maxes out because the box of the guitar, the item, the ukulele, the guitar is so small, it can only create so much and it overdrives. You're not gonna have that problem here. You get incredibly huge response, fast response. It's got a special bracing pattern. It's scalloped for this specific guitar. And it's lights out. It's awesome. I mean, you can play it delicately. That's why I kind of started off just a little bit softer playing, just to show you get all this huge tone with no effort. And that goes as you strum bigger and bigger and bigger. It just builds to a crescendo, but really is impossible to max out. It's got a VTS spruce top, 3-piece Guatemalan Rosewood back and sides. Now, what's great about the custom shop is, Martin has incredible wood sourcing. All of the guitars, this comes in a Koa as well. We'll be doing a video on that one as well. All of the guitars are 3-piece backs because to get it spread this wide is almost impossible. So you're gonna get a 3-piece back. What's really cool is we have obviously ebony fingerboard and bridge. They came up with a new herringbone design. It's a unique to this. The color's really cool. It's like almost like a black, a tan, and a copper almost. It's really pretty. Action's money on these. Martin has invested a ton in technology to get great neck angles to make easy playing guitars, and this delivers. I want to show you, since the guys at the factory are here, and they actually forgot some of their trusty examples to show things off. I want to show you the difference in size between it and a standard Dreadnought. So this here is a standard Dreadnought Martin guitar, and this is the Super Dreadnought. What you'll notice is the Super Dreadnought is proportionally correct. It's not a little different. It's not like, oh, hey, it's 10% wider at the lower bout than a Dreadnought would be. It's exactly proportional. But when we place them back to back, as best we can here, what do we see? It's much taller, the Super Dreadnought. It's wider, right? So it's, well, I should do it the other way, right? Yeah, it's here, without kind of hammering the instruments. You can see the footprint of the instrument. I hope that's good. The footprint of the instrument is wider, but it's the same depth. Because when they told us about these guitars, I was like, well, I don't know if people are dying for Super Dreadnoughts. Is that what people are asking for? Is that what our customers are pining for? I was afraid it was gonna feel like one of those like ridiculous mariachi guitars that they show like in the cartoons. It's like this massive instrument. And the first thing you notice about it is its depth, because it doesn't feel awkward to hold. The length of the instrument, which is interesting, is a lot of it feels like it's behind you. So it also doesn't feel as present or overwhelming in your hands. Now, if you're smaller in stature and you find a Dreadnought guitar to be a little clunky to hold, I probably wouldn't get a super dreadnought. I don't think it's going to work out the way you expect. It's not going to work out differently than you expect, I'd say. But I think if you're comfortable with the dreadnought body shape, this is not going to feel uncomfortable to you. It is, it's unique in that, to me, with most Martin guitars, when you play a dreadnought Rosewood guitar, you get lots of bass, lots of treble, you get that treble kind of bite, and the mids aren't as present. This guitar is much more balanced. The extra airspace has allowed the mid presence to be more noticeable, which I really, really love. I love the fact that you get more evenness. I'm a big balance person. I don't like guitars that are too heavy in one direction. So you can have a lot of bass and you can have a lot of treble and still be balanced because your mids are really represented well. That's done through the special bracing pattern. Like when Fred Green designs this guitar, there's a lot of physics that goes into it to make sure that the tone is drawn out in the way that the manufacturer is anticipating. And then they get to work and prototype it and make it happen, and it's lights out. If you watch the videos that I do, you know a handful of things. I like to do dynamic range, which is going to be fun to do on this one because it's going to be the most broad dynamic range of any Martin guitar that's been produced. And then we show off the mids, which is, you have a gripe with certain styles of Martin guitars, the mids sometimes aren't as present as the bass and the treble. So this would solve that issue for you. So let's do dynamic range here. And I know, because I touched this guitar for the first time yesterday, what I know is going to happen is it's going to sound phenomenal with a light attack, which is really weird for such a big guitar. It's not something I was expecting, and is to me a greater selling point and a reason that makes me want it more than the fact that it can be played with a really, really aggressive attack without hitting its ceiling, because most of us don't play to the level that we are maxing out dreadnoughts. I think what you're gonna notice here is the response is immediate, but you still have that headroom. So let's scope it out. This thing is awesome. This is a really exciting guitar to play. Standout feature, the bass sustain is next level. It's nuts. It's like crazy how great it is because it holds forever and forever and forever. And before you rewind to go back to the very first light attack playthrough I did and hear that bass note, I want you to subscribe to our channel. But when you, please, just take a second, zip back 30 seconds here, and listen to that first time through when I hang on that G and listen to it. It hums and it stays true and it's tight, and not in a negative way, it's focused, which I love. Nothing to me is more annoying than a big, loud, dumb sounding, blurry guitar. Like anybody can make a big, loud guitar. Like that is not an accomplishment in life. Making one that can be articulate is very, very hard to do, and what makes this instrument super special. And you can still play it lightly. You can work through it with this huge tone. Like I barely touched the strings, and it was really, it feels like when I'm doing these demos, usually the third or fourth time through on the individual note picking where I'm at on like an OM style guitar, I was at, on the first time through here, my lightest attack was at the heaviest I could basically accurately individually pick. Let's talk about the mids. Let's cruise through them and see what we think about the balance. lights out. Unbelievable. I mean, this, you know, it's going to be a niche guitar because the Super Dreadnought is going to make most of our eyes and brains go blank and say, I don't know if I want that. It's going to be too big. I think most of us are going to be too afraid to buy one of these just on the idea that it's a bigger version of something that we already consider to be big. You gotta trust me on this. Give me a call. We'll hook you up on one, but we'll get it in your hands and you're gonna feel what I feel, which is the body depth being the same, which is the driving factor in how it feels against us, right? If the guitar is deeper, it juts the guitar away from us, and that's what makes our stretches awkward. Now we have trouble reaching down here because the guitar is farther away. We have trouble playing accurately. That's hard to do, but with the body depth being the same, our hands in the same position it would be on a standard Dreadnought. But what you immediately get is a much wider dynamic range, so much so that it's stunning at first strum. Like no matter how you expect it to perform, with your first swipe through, it's gonna perform bigger than you expect. And that's saying something for a guitar that's called a Super Dreadnought. I mean, it sets a pretty big expectation with that name, but it really, really screams, but it still sounds smart. And I think that's really, really important. It stays focused, it stays articulate, you can hammer on, you can play nuanced notes and it responds. It's got crazy overtones. I mean, the guitar just oozes tone. It's wild. It's the Martin Super Dreadnought, custom expert only guitar. One of 25 dealers like us worldwide can hook you up. We'll get you dialed in on a factory setup. It'll be ready to play when you get it. Check out empiremusic.com. Call us about anything Martin. We are truly expert dealers. We've worked really hard over the last 20 years with Martin to make sure we provide amazing service and the most unique and best Martin guitars at all categories and styles and price points. So reach out to us, check it out. It's the Martin Super Dreadnought. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Joe from Empire Music. EmpireMusic.com in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with the Martin Super Dreadnought Guatemalan Rosewood. Thanks for watching.